in Jewish society is usually persona non grata with those who have been the beneficiaries of the system.
The word suffering is not in my vocabulary. That's a powerful statement from the legendary Judith Jameson, who is now with the ancestors. But it is one that speaks directly to the resilience and beauty of Black art, Black movement, and Black culture. And with that, I say welcome to On the Record. I am your host, Ebony McMorris, White House correspondent for American Urban Radio Networks. And a part of our Black History Month interviews, we're diving deep into the power of dance, the legacy of Alvin Ailey, and what it means to preserve our culture, especially at a time when history is under attack. And I'm so excited to have joining me today a woman who has also dedicated her life to carrying forward the vision of Alvin Ailey, Miss Sylvia Waters, Artistic Director Emerita of Alvin Ailey too. Miss Waters, welcome to On the Record.
Thank you. My pleasure. Happy to be here.
It is, like I said before, it is happy to see your beautiful Black face. Ailey is legacy in motion. That is how it is described. And this week, the legacy takes place at center stage at the Kennedy Center for 1 week. Alvin Ailey, American Dance Theater, will bring its powerful storytelling to Washington, D.C. I will say this is something that my mom used to take me to every single year growing up. So it's a pleasure to do this interview. Tell us, Ms. Waters, about this year's performances. What can audiences expect? And is there anything different this year?
Well, what's different is that we are celebrating the loss of our dear dancing spirit. We called her Judith Jameson, who left us too soon. Yeah. And with that, you know, she did so much for so many people all over the world. And her presence is still very much with us. Her presence will always be with us. I had the good fortune to know her for a very long time and to work with her. And I have to say, it's still kind of a suspended disbelief, you know, that she's not here. But I have many, many poignant, beautiful memories of her work, her artistry, her beauty, her compassion, her spirituality, her intelligence, and her insight, her nurturing, and most of all, her friendship.
Wow. When we, talk about the legacy that, Ailey left, that she left, and now that you are kind of carrying on in this new role, what is it that you want to, is there anything you envision that you want to either carry forth in a greater way or that you want to even add to the mix now as a creative director?
Well, I'm not in really a new role. I kind of migrated to this position I'm in at working in the archives as a consultant for the archives. And it seemed a very natural transition after performing and dancing and directing and working with many young dancers and choreographers. It seemed a very natural transition. And in that, it allowed me to learn even more and to explore even more about the company, about Alvin. I've seen so much growth since I've been with the company. I've been with the company since 1968. And in that time, we had this incredible building, the Joan Weil Center for Dance, that has, I've forgotten how many studios we have. We have that many, 10 to 12 studios and classrooms. And dancers come here from all over to study many, many different dance disciplines and dance history. There's our partnership with Fordham University, where they come to study and get a BFA degree in dance. So much has happened in all of these years. And I can remember when Judith and I used to say, well, I wonder how long this job is going to go on, you know?
Wow. But talk about that, because when I was just kind of looking over some notes and history of the dance company, there was a quote from Alvin Ailey that says, "I'm a choreographer. I create movement and I am searching for truth in movement." When I saw that, I thought about the times that we are in now, when diversity, equity, and inclusion is being systematically dismantled. It's not just in policy, but it's in education, it's in corporate spaces, and even in the arts. I thought about that because I was like, when I come to see the show, I just feel like they just gonna be dancing in a whole new level, like fighting demons while they dance on the stage.
I mean, Alvin Ailey really was I don't, what do you want to call it? A subtext for diversity, equity, and inclusion. I mean, he was always about universality. He was always about our commonalities, what we have in common with each other as people rather than our differences. He was a visionary. I mean, he early on, almost from the inception, his company was an integrated company. He was the first to have a repertory company, not only his works, but the works of many, many different choreographers, whether they be white or black or Asian. And he wanted to celebrate the African-American experience and the modern dance tradition. And that he did on a universal level, all over the world. He took dance to people. And he always said, dance came from the people. We should give it back to the people. And I know you've heard that many times. It's one of his most famous quotes, but it's so true. And he's the one who really wanted to bring pay tribute and bring our modern dance pioneers and celebrate contemporary choreographers, as well as the future, commissioning those emerging choreographers. So he was all of this, and he wanted his company to be a reflection of his audiences. And it's pretty amazing how all over the world, this company has not just made friends and fans, but how we really connected with people, that mission, that message, that he was a humanist, really.
Yeah.
And people understood this through the power of movement.
And a tremendous social activist at the same time, like you said, a cultural ambassador. And that is also going to be portrayed, being told in the new PBS series. I'm so excited, called Portrait of Ailey. Tell us about this.
Oh, that's my little pet. I did that because in working in archives, I was watching so many tapes, interviews, listening to Alvin's voice. And I realized that in the school with all these students, thousands of students, that they never knew him. They never saw him dance. They never heard him speak. And, I would realize this as I'm standing in the elevators with them. So I thought for the 50th anniversary, I think it was the 50th or 50th anniversary or 55th anniversary, I wanted to put together a reel of a collection of him speaking, of him dancing. I mean, even staff who worked at Ailey for years never knew him, never laid eyes on him, except in an occasional video, perhaps, and certainly many photographs. So I wanted to put together this reel where students and new hires and administrative staff and everybody would know this person that they're working for, that they're working so hard for, and whose works that they know and love. And that turned out to be an hour long, and it took 5 years to do it. But I learned a lot. My learning curve was very steep, but I was fortunate to work with many, not many, but various editors, and very good editors. And so in putting this together, we came up with 7 chapters, Portrait of Ailey, which has his voice, which has him speaking, which has various interviews, which has him dancing, which has his mission statement, which has some of his deepest feelings about movement, about choreography, about dancers, and about humanity. The human condition was always what he was concerned about. And with this 7 chapter work is also a curriculum. And this has been launched on PBS Learning for high school students. So I'm very proud to share this wealth of information about Alvin Ailey beyond what you see on stage. Yes.
Was there anything that, I mean, you know this, right? Like, you're intertwined to this whole movie. But as you were going through this, were there things that you can share that you didn't quite realize, or I don't know, that just kind of stood out to you that you hadn't really seen before? Sometimes when you're in the thick of things and you're working through it and you're a part of the whole movement.
I would say yes. I mean, that's kind of what happened. It was kind of euphoric for me because, yes, I was listening to Alvin's voice, but I was listening in a different way. I mean, it was almost poetic. So, he was working on an autobiography, and so a lot of this was from the tapes from that, working on that. I mean, and it was just poetry to me, what he was saying. Yes, there were some of those things I'd heard him say many times before, but they took on a new meaning to me.
Anything that stuck out the most, especially with the times that we are in? I just feel like so many of us are now going back to those who are not with us and walking amongst us, but listening to the wisdom that they shared, looking at their life and kind of even doing an assessment of our own, and looking at the fight.
He talked about believing in yourself. He talked about tenacity. If you really believed in yourself, you must keep doing it. You must not let anyone distract you from what you feel you must do. And one's self-esteem is so important, is so very important. And that's what he very much loved to do and loved to work with, why he loved to work with young people, because he realized that self-esteem was so important. And he started in Kansas City, they started at Ailey Camp, where kids, rather than just kind of hanging around in the summer, would come and take dance class, they would take music, they would take creative writing, and on Fridays they would have a field trip. And several of them over the years, and there are about 10 Ailey camps throughout the United States, have become dancers, and some of them dancers in the Alvin Ailey American Dance Theater.
Wow.
So that, so education was very important to him, and like I said, one's self-esteem. And when we do performances for young audiences, and they were early in the morning, and we were tired, our bodies weren't ready to do that. He said, but you never know how many people you're going to affect. You never know the kind of impact you're going to have on that youngster out there. He's going to see something, he or she will see something he didn't think he could do. You never know when your next choreographer is going to be in that audience.
Come on. I love it, Sylvia. One of my favorite performances, which is everybody's, Revelations. It never gets old. I have never not cried when I've seen it. I don't know what it is about that performance, but it will never get old, and it is one of those that just keeps revealing more. Like the more you see it, there's just more. It just kind of brings up in you. What's one of your favorite? Don't pick the one I picked either.
Well, that's hard because that's one of my favorites. And I was at the very first performance of Revelations.
Oh,
I was,
talk about that,
I
please.
was in school, and it was extremely impactful. It was extremely moving. It was. I mean, I had I guess you'd say, a visceral experience to it because the music I was familiar with from my own background and my parents and my grandparents, but I'd never seen anything like that on a stage and people moving like that, and it was just larger than life, and the way the audience reacted, it was just amazing. And
They still do. I don't think that I can't think of any, and I love ballet. I cannot think of anything I've ever seen that is still so relevant and still so moving. And even each time, like I was saying before, it takes on a new meaning. It literally almost tells the whole story of our struggle, of our life, of our just of who it sums up who we are as a people.
well, Alvin always spoke about his blood memories and growing up in West Texas as a kid in those cotton fields. And that's his inspiration. That's his, that's his background. And so he brought himself to the stage. He brought himself to this language that he used, this movement language, and made it relevant to everyone. And it's interesting because we perform Revelations all over the world. It is the most performed ballet in the world, apparently. And the words are sung in English, but we've performed it for people in every country: Russia, China, Spain, you name it, France. And there's just never been a language barrier as to what it means.
Oh, well, I'm so excited on Saturday, February the 8th. I know there'll be, you talked about it before, a special reception at the Kennedy Center to honor Ms. Jameson, her work and her legacy and what she means to the world of dance. I want to ask you as we go, because this position that you have now, what draws you, what keeps you to this, and what is the legacy that you want to leave?
Well, I haven't thought that far ahead. I guess I should have, but
it's okay. It's okay.
I feel, at this point in my life that I feel I've been so fortunate throughout my life that I have been able to be in a profession that I love passionately, and I've been able to make my living that way. And I can't think of anything better. And I'm still in the industry, if you want, but in a different role where I've been helping younger dancers, and I work with educators and artists of every stripe. And it's a very special place to be. I feel I'm in the hub of, I guess, that universal connection, the arts, which brings us all together.
I love it. Well, I just want to encourage everyone, please, if you are in the DMV area, to please make sure you go to the Kennedy Center. Tickets are still on sale. I do know some of the shows are already sold out, so I'm good, but I want you all to be good as well. And you can go, where can people go to get more information? Not just on this, because I know there are several other shows that are going to be coming up in other places. Where can people go to get more information?
about the performances at the Kennedy Center? Well, I guess go directly to their website.
KennedyCenter.org. And then what is, the website for Alvin Ailey if people want to find out more information?
Alvin Ailey American Dance Theater, alvinailey.org. Go to the Ailey website.
alvinailey.org. Well, Sylvia, thank you so much for coming on American Urban Radio Networks. You are always welcome. I look forward to seeing you in person, and I look forward to this PBS documentary that's going to be coming out. I know you've labored over it, and I'm so excited, just especially in this time, and I keep reiterating it, to hear the words and the wisdom from Mr. Ailey.
Well, thank you. It's been my pleasure, really. And
Absolutely.
I look forward to being there on Saturday.
Wonderful. Thank you. Thank you so much. Thank you for coming on the record.
Thank you.